Hello everyone, it's Ginger here. Welcome back to another video, and for those of you that are new, I am Ginger and this is my art channel where I do a significant amount of my main paintings, my sketchbooks and some general overall experiments, reviews and anything else that kind of comes my way. And today we are doing another product review. And as you can see, we have the Mont Marte Signature Soft Pastel tin. So this is the tin pack of 24. Which I got on Amazon, so I will put the price below so you can see how much this was. And we're going to test these out and see what they're like, what the colours like, what the pigments like, what's the translucency like, whether it breaks down in water okay, whether it breaks down in rubbing alcohol okay, and then we'll do a quick little pastel piece on some sanded paper, just to kind of get a feel and see how they are. So, first things first, I have got you quite zoomed in. This is the tin. As you can see, it's quite chunky, and here is the back with all the colours. Hopefully you guys can see that. So we have white, cadmium yellow, salmon, tangerine, vermilion, scarlet, hot pink, fuchsia, purple, lavender, cobalt blue, sky blue, cerulean blue, aegon, seafoam, emerald green, leaf green, forest green, olive green, which is more of a brown, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, red oxide, burnt umber and lamp black. So what it says on the back of the tin, it has one of these I'm supposed to be hanging thingies. We'll have to work out. Oh, that just pops off like that, but it means there's a hole in the tin. And that goes to the side. Right, back to this. And so the information, this vibrant set can be used to create a range of effects from seamless blending to blocking out large areas of colour and drawing fine lines. Great for textured paper, coloured paper and card. Suitable for use with pastel pencils and charcoal. Use a kneadable eraser to create highlights. Okay. Sort of. Where's this come from? So, Apex CE Specialist Limited, 6F East Union Street, Manchester. I don't think that's where it's made though. There we go. So, for those of you that want to know, there's the info. Designed in Australia, made in China. Right, let's get this open. It has been shrink wrapped, which at least means that the tin is staying relatively unharmed when it's transferred. Right, let's open this bad boy up. So, tin lid completely separates, no hinge, which I like because I hate things that do that. Flimsy bit of foam, like you can see through it, but does the job. And there is our colours. Quite a nice looking range. No neutrals, they're all saturates. So, yeah, a lot of colour, but not a lot of range, if you know what I mean. So let's take every single one of these. Is stamped with their logo and also the number of the pastel. I'm hoping you guys can see this because I can't. Although, you know, it's not really a surprise when you're blind. Oh, you can see it like that for some reason. There we go. They've got a bit of weight to it. Do I have a scale? Let me go get a scale in a minute. We'll see how much pastel you get in your stick. This is my poor, somewhat abused scale. Let's have a look. That's zeroed. I know the backlight's not working either. So that's reading at 7 grams. Let's pull another one out. Let's pick a green one. 8 grams. 7 grams. So around about 7 to 8 grams a stick, which is not bad considering the price. So you're getting a fair amount. How much filler versus pigment, I don't know. We will have to wait and see. So what I'm going to do now is I will clear this out the way. I've got one of my swatching cards, which is Canson made tense paper with a grid on it. We will swatch all the colours and see what we get. So let's move all this. Right, we are back with my main board and one of my swatch sheets and the pastels. So we will start in order. We'll do white down and then across to blues and greens. I will speed this up because this bit, no offense, is rather tedious, even for you guys as well as for me. So I will speed this up so that you can see it all. Right, so here is our swatch. I'm just going to tap off the multitude of various different colours. So there is our swatch. Compare it to the tin. So not bad. Usually when you get cheaper pastels, the colours that you tend to see that tend to be more transparent, I have less pigment and more filler in, tend to be the yellows, and actually the yellows have worked really well on this. So I'm quite pleased with that. They do have a similar feel to the Ahuhu. They're quite soft, like buttery soft, but yeah, so this is one of the Ahuhus. So yeah, about the same width. In fact, almost same dimensions. It would not surprise me if this was same manufacturer. Oh, look at that. Which is that one. Pretty much identical in colour. Let me bring that closer so you can see. That's the two greens. I think the Ohuhu one may be slightly more yellow, so there is a difference. These one tend to, the Mont Marte do look a little washed out with pigment. And I know the Ohuhus were about a similar weight as well. So by the by, they're not too far off. Would say at the moment Ohuhu's probably just winning, and that's just because we're getting a little bit more intensity of colour than the Mont Martes. However, the drawback, as I said a minute ago, with the Ohuhu is that their yellows tend to be quite transparent. So let's move this to up here. Just pop that out of the way. I've got, this is a piece of an offcut Fabriano watercolour paper. I have got some water to the side. Let's see. How yellow is the brush? Don't know where it's picking that up from. Good to know. Nice if you actually, yeah, you'll be fine. Right. So what I want to do is I'm going to try this with alcohol and I'm going to try this with water. We're going to see how the pastel reacts, how much the liquid picks up the pigment and moves it around, because that's kind of important, especially if you're using liquids like water and rubbing alcohol with pastel to create your underpainting. You want to try to get it as smooth as possible and not grainy. So what ridiculous colour. Let's go for a super saturated mauve. This is a nice, there we go. And then make this one, go on. Yeah, like the Ohuhus, it is producing a lot of dust, which isn't really a surprise. Right, so water. Gosh, that pretty much dissolved almost immediately. And look how far it's going. Right, well, safe to say, they do dissolve in water. The thing is, sometimes with cheap pastels is, if they've used certain types of fillers, sometimes those fillers resist the water, and therefore the water isn't able to break down the pigment particles and spread them out. This is absolutely not the case in this one. Right, so we have some isopropanol, 99.9% alcohol. Just going to clean and dry the brush off. Right. Get some alcohol, and we will, oh, there we go, it's off and away. Oh gosh, look at that. How are we doing here? Now that's interesting. Okay, so there is a reaction. Now this is what I was looking for. So I will bring this up so you can see it. I'll let it dry a bit more first. And I'll put the lid back on the alcohol, will be a good start. Come here, you. Move you out the way. Right, this is a bit dry now, so we'll bring you closer. Right, so with the water, it broke down moderately, transferred to the water, and allowed us to smooth this out. The alcohol picked up the pigment, but also basically it leached some of the colour out of the pigment straight into the paper rather than lifting it like this one. So the water lifted the pigment, mingled with it and allowed it to spread. The alcohol literally stripped the pigment apart and left us this weird pink stain. And you can actually see where it's spread out around. Now what's happening with this is it's splitting the pigments apart. Obviously this mauve is more than one colour. It will be a blue and a pink together to make this gorgeous colour, and you can see that the pink particles, pink pigment has come out way more and stained the paper and is then separated. You can see it in this halo here. So definitely safe to use with water, but wouldn't recommend using with rubbing alcohol when creating your underpainting. Right, let's do a small painting, and I mean really small. What should we do? Should we do like a lazy meadow? Yeah, let's do a lazy meadow. Let's do something fun. So as you can see, there's not really a lot of darks in this tin, is there? Not really. And I'm not even going to get started. Don't get me started on the black. Black is not black, but we know that anyway. Right, so let's do horizon line, trees. I'll just do some rough trees. I'll bring this one down. I want this one a bit closer than that one, which I want up there. That will do. And I want the under foliage to be darker down the bottom in our classic style. I will also frame the corners. Right, so we're going to use some water and wash that out. It's gripping to the paper pretty well, is what I like to see. I mean, this is the Colourfix Art Spectrum Colourfix sanded paper, so it is a sanded paper, so it should adhere to this with no problems at all. But because it's a very, very soft pastel, just bear in mind that this sort of paper will absolutely eat these pastels. Pastels? Pastels. What am I? Upper class? I don't know anymore. But yeah, yeah, I had the same problem with the Ohuhu ones, is basically that the sanded paper will just absolutely eat them. Right, that's trees. So I need that to dry, so give us 1 second and we will let that dry and come back to it. Right, that is pretty much dry, so let's use some blues. I want to keep the sky quite light, and looking at the swatch, I want to maybe use this one, which is kind of almost a teal colour, and that will probably come out slightly more because of the yellow. And I do want it lighter at the bottom, so we will add this one, which is our kind of not sure what colour this is. It's like a yellow cream colour. But we'll mix that in with that. And actually, I do want some of this. I'm going to fill this with buttercups, so I'll put some of that in. And should we do some of the blue-green at the top? Like that. Coming down to our yellow-green. Like that. And then more of our, we'll do the really yellow, because that will help really accent some of this. We also want, right, we will water that in, do the sky first. Worried that this yellow might make this sky a bit green, but that doesn't matter because we're going over it anyway. This is just our underpainting to give us something fun to work with. And then I think it's quite yellow as we go down to there. Right, we need to let that dry before we start adding anything else on. Right, that's dry. So let's have some fun with some colour. I think we will start with, I want to do this bit of the sky first. Just because I know that getting the trees in over the top is going to be easier. Just doing a little blending with my fingers, not much, but just enough to give us a slightly smoother sky. Right, let's get our brown in first. So I want it darker at the bottom because it's in shade. Same on this side. Kind of lost this as I had it brought down and then lost it again. So I can bring that down a wee bit. Right, and same again here, but not so far up as we did the first time. I'm just going to rub that in. Colourfix takes a few layers, but not that many, so being very careful about how many I managed to get into that one. Use this, which is the olive green. That will give us our trees. How's that looking? Let's just blend some of that in with the brown. That'll do. We're not looking for exact, we're just having fun and testing these out so we can see what we get. Right. So we want some of the blue-green back at the top here. First of all, for two reasons, partly to do with our shadow from the tree, and also to do with the fact it's cooler further away from you. Like I said, there's a lot of very saturated colours in this, but none of our kind of nice neutrals. So let's go, we're going to go down. Yeah, I'm being pretty rough. I don't need to be perfect because we're going over the top of this with our flowers and stuff. So I just need to give us a good base to work from. Right. So first things first, want to mark out stems. Oh, actually, do I want to do? No, what I want to do is I'm going to get some of these flowers in at the background. So these are the ones that are in the distance. Now, the further away those flowers get, the more all you see is clumps. You don't see how I'm breaking off now. Yeah, we don't need that. You don't see individual flowers, it's just clumps. So that's what we're kind of working towards, is these kind of groupings of flowers. Like that. And we want to do some individual flowers, but we can do that in a minute. What I want to do is some of our grass is right at the front here. I'm just darkening that bit there. Right, so you can see we've now got some grasses. We'll add in another colour for the grasses as well. We don't want to do that one, so probably the blue-green actually might be nice. So we'll just add something different. We're trying to limit, I'm not wanting to use all the colours in this palette, so I am trying to limit it to standard feel colours and then some interesting colours for the flowers, which I'm doing with the 2 yellows and possibly the cornflower blue. That's not what it's called on the tin, is it? No, but never mind. I know what it is. So first things first, so I want to lighten up where these flowers are coming down here, because that's where the sun kind of hits it as it's going down. Right, I'm not doing particular flower shapes, I'm just doing the bottom end of the pastel, the flat end, and I'm just kind of hitting and dragging. And then the same with the yellow. The yellow ones are the bigger flowers, and the blue will be just a nice kind of accent. That's looking pretty, liking that. That's looking a lot better. Right, now we're going to do this. And just little ones here and there. Question is, do I want to add some white? Do I want to add some white, or do I want to leave it like that? No, we're going to leave it like that. We'll just leave it like that. You can see how much comes off on my fingers. Quite a bit. So, let's wrap up this review. What do we think of the Mont Marte pastels? Well, they are on a par with the Ohuhu. They are a similar shape, they are a similar weight, and they are a similar feel. However, there is a slight difference in, not in texture, but in pigment. So I would say that the Mont Martes aren't quite as pigmented as the Ohuhus. And I mean like by a minuscule amount, enough that I've noticed because I'm working with pastels and pigment every day, but to the discerning eye, and if you're an absolute beginner, you probably wouldn't notice. For the price, yeah, they're on a par with Ohuhu. The pair of them are going to be competing against each other. Is it nice having a tin rather than the box? Yes, it is for a smaller set, but as a smaller set goes, I don't like the fact that the smaller tin only contains saturates. I would have preferred the tin to have some neutrals in it. I know the bigger sets, they do have some neutrals in it, but it would have been nice to have at least 1 or 2 neutrals in this one. Yeah, it just would be nice to have just that little bit, enough to bring the kind of colour tones down. So I hope you guys found this really interesting. I hope you found it really good. Please leave any questions and comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts on these. Have you used them? What do you think? And I suppose the big question for me is, will I be adding these to my trays? I think the answer is going to be yes. I know that the light fastness on this isn't going to be great. Same with the Ohuhu. Most of the light fastness on these is not great because of the fillers. It hasn't got enough pigment for it to maintain its light fastness. So yeah, as a commercial brand, and the same with the Ohuhus, they're not great for light fastness. Just bear that in mind. But if you're a beginner, it absolutely doesn't matter. If you plan on selling any work like I do, and if I use one of the colours randomly while I'm working, it makes no difference. I put all of my work behind UV protected glass anyway. So there is some pros, there is some cons, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I have another review next week coming up of some metallic pastels. Now, I've seen metallic oil pastels, watercolours, acrylic paint, oil paint. I've never really come across metallic soft pastels before. So this is going to be a new one. We're going to see how that goes. We'll test it on standard white paper, toned paper like the Canson May Tense. I'll also cut, I think I've got some offcuts of my May Tense Touch in the kind of dark aubergine colour. So we'll try it on that, and we'll see how metallic they really are, and whether they also stand up to mixing with other pastels, or whether it loses its shininess. So I will see you all then, but in the meantime, enjoy. Hope you guys found this useful, and I will see you all soon.